What is going on, everyone? I hope you all are doing well. Let me make sure I did not mute my microphone. This is the Roaming Prepper Channel. Thank you for joining me yet again for another edition of the Prepper X Files. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Um, we're actually going to talk about something that actually has happened, not something hypothetical. Now, by the time all of you see this video, you will probably have already heard on the news and from other channels that there is a actual the event had occurred. So this is meant to be breaking news, but more an analysis on stuff you've probably already heard. And I have stuff all over my keyboard. I don't know why. In any case, let's talk about the recent report of the attack in Moscow at a concert hall. So let me introduce you to that. For those of you who have not seen it, let me find that. There we go. So Moscow roiled by mass shooting in packed concert hall. Now, it says Russian media has reported Friday that multiple gunmen in combat fatigues opened fire inside a packed Moscow concert hall, killing an unspecified number of people. Heavy gunfire could be heard in the background of videos shared on Telegram from the venue, showing concert goers fleeing for their lives at Crocus City Hall. Uh, State news agencies report that as many as 50 ambulance crews were on the scene. Terrible tragedy occurred in the shopping center Crocus City today, said Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin in a news conference. I'm sorry for the loved ones of the victims. Sobyanin said the attackers used automatic weapons, did not give an estimate of the fatalities. So this is an actually, oh, I have a little bit of video here. Let me bring that back and let me see if you guys can actually see this video. Hopefully the audio will work, and let's see. So just some context, a pyrotechnic explosive device did go off just preceding the attack. It's quite a few shots. Now it's kind of hard to tell from the sound if it was a Kalashnikov. I'm assuming it was. Um, Citing eyewitnesses, the Russian news agency TASS reported that an explosion went off at the concert just before the shooting, that a massive fire broke out. Also, a video of the fire was shared online, appearing the roof engulfed in flames. Other verified footage showed victims lying motionless in a pool of blood outside the hall. I won't show that because I'll probably get flagged or something for showing it on YouTube. Um, this is the kind of stuff, and they haven't specified if it's terrorism, if it's an insane person, if it's multiple shooters in fatigues. They might blame the Ukrainians. This could be an operation to create more public support for the war against Ukraine. They may ultimately blame the Ukrainians for the action. It could be a crazy person. It could be some other entity. It's well known that the uh, Taliban and the Mujahideen have no love for the Russians, so it could be them taking advantage of the fact that Russia's completely focused on a war with Ukraine to go and execute an attack. Um, a lot of lessons that can be learned here, and I want to talk first of all about the nature of a mass murderer or a mass shooter. Um, Now, before I go any further, I'll just say that the reason I know the information is not because I have super secret squirrel information. I actually, while I was in the Guard, we were training alongside first responders, and we had the opportunity on our personal time to go and attend multiple classes and seminars and also participate in active shooter drills with the unit down in Houston. And so I not only got to play a victim, I got to play a dead person, which was kind of comical because they tried to arrest me, but my dude was dead. Um, I also got to sit in and listen to the SWAT teams, FBI analysts, and street cops who've dealt with active shooters. So I'm giving what I'm doing. I'm no expert. I'm simply sharing my knowledge with you guys, and you guys take it how you will. So but do your own homework, of course. So they say most active shooters are male, but there have been some female. That's in a minority. I'm not getting into the argument about trans, not trans. It's been mainly biological males. I'm sure you guys track. All right. Also, they tend to be suicidal. They tend to often start give acting in a way that indicates end of life, much like a cancer victim who knows they may die. It's like, hey, I want you to have my jewelry. I want you to have my shotgun. I want you to take my dogs. You know, basically tying up their family and life loose ends. Many active shooters will do this. They also tend to not get caught. The fact that we've caught a few is kind of rare. Usually one in 10 are actually captured alive. Most of them either die in the incident or self delete, if you will, and remove themselves from the equation. With the exception of the shooter in Dallas who barricaded himself and nobody could get to him, so they sent the EOD robot with C4 and basically immolated the guy in the parking garage. In most cases, they don't get caught alive. They will also look for soft targets, which is something many of us have talked about. They're not going to go to a shooting range. Yeah, they'll kill some people, but they will immediately be fired back upon, whether it's with deer rifles or handguns or ARs or AKs. Somebody's going to fight back. They're going to pick a place like the theater, like a school, like a court, a hospital, where it's a softer target with a lot of vulnerable people. That's because they're looking for head count. Most of them also know they're on a time limit, right? They know from the time they pull the trigger the first time, they've got so many minutes before law enforcement, military, whoever is responding gets there. That's very often why you don't hear about certain shootings, like the attempted shooting in San Antonio. The guy came out, fired several shots, hit a couple of people, was immediately shot by a guy in the concession stand who was actually tying his daughter's shoes when the shots rang out. So he grabbed this kid, threw her on the ground, drew his pistol. He had a concealed carry permit and actually had a clear view of the shooter and fired at him and dropped him. You It was in the Texas newspapers for about a week and it disappeared. I didn't see it on any national news, and that happens a lot more than anyone wants to admit, especially people who don't like 2A. But I digress. Um, most of them are not looking for resistance, so they're not going to go to a place where they think they're going to get some kind of resistance. Hence, if you look even in Texas with all the firearms, the church shootings, schools, malls, they're trying to go places where you have soccer moms, you have kids, someone who can't fight back. They're never going to go to the gun show. They're not going to go to the rodeo. They're not going to go to the open air market where you have families there because inevitably someone's carrying and they know this. They're going to pick targets where they think they have the least chance of someone interfering with whatever their plans are. Now, this one's a little different because based on the article, there were multiple shooters, usually a mass shooter single. They were equipped, which not a big deal. You could buy camouflage and a plate carrier or a tactical vest. They're using automatic weapons in Russia, which, yes, you can own them, but that's kind of odd too. It's not one of those, countries where people just rock around with Kalashnikovs. And maybe they do. I don't know. I haven't been there. But the explosion before the shooting it almost seems like they were detonating and trying to flush people out of their chairs into maybe the exits or into the hallways where they became almost sardines in a can, right? Fish in a barrel. You get these people in this wide open stadium or this concert hall, and you have to shoot in a lot of different directions to hit a lot of different people. But if you can get a bunch of them into a hallway, you're going to hit one, the bullet's going to go through and hit someone else. Like, you could get much more casualty effect that way. Um, could this be an individual terrorist? I don't know. Ukrainian, Russian separatist? We don't know. False flag? Again, don't know. But these are things you need to understand. So when you're going to places like this, venues, you can't always carry, those of us who are in the West, we can't always carry our handguns to concerts, stuff like that. When you get in, one, you should pick your exit. Two, when you buy your seats, pick seats where you have egress. And what I'm saying is, for instance, a concert hall out here, we've had great concerts, right? We had Blue October, we even had Foreigner, remember them? Foreigner, we've had oh God, what's their name? Disturbed came out here. So like we have the whole gamut of concerts. And I try to get a seat that, one, is convenient to go to the bathroom and go to the concession stand, but two, it gives me egress. I have multiple exits from where I sit, and there's a certain place on one of the tiers that I actually have three exits. So unless if they come in all three, I'm kind of screwed, right? But if they come in at one, I have directions I can go to get out. Even if you're just going to the store, or do you know where the emergency exits are in your Walmart? Have you factored in that a lot of these stores have a delay? So even if you hit the bar, it sets off an alarm, but you have like a 20-second delay, which is to prevent theft. But if you have an active shooter behind you, 20 seconds in eternity, right? Um, do you know where those exits are? Do you know how to get in and out of the store? Do you know where the alternate exits are? Do you know how to get into the back room? Let's say there's an active shooter and you can't get to an exit, but you can go to the back of the store where their storage is. Do you know where those are located so you can take the people you love through those doors and hide? These are all little things that you need to be aware of. Now, from the context of being caught in a situation, even if you're carrying, you got to be careful how you do things. And again, there's no way any of us could train for a million different scenarios. You just can't. You're going to have to make a judgment call. I guess if you have a clear shot at the bad guy, you can try to engage. But understand, when the cops come in, they're not going to know who the legal concealed carry person is versus terrorist, right? They're coming in with zero data other than people are getting killed, and they got to stop them. So if a SWAT team comes in, a tactical team comes in, and again, I witnessed this playing one of the victims. I was in Moulage and they painted me all dead. I also played a hostage in one. We had some of our guys playing bad guys, but you come into an area, and when you break into the area, they break into the area, they see anyone with a firearm, you're immediately going to be the target, and they're going to engage you because they don't know who you are, right? So you gotta think about this thing now, because in the heat of the moment, you're not going to have very much time to think. The general suggestion of the FBI analysts and the SWAT guys who are teaching the class is, they often say run, hide, fight. They said practice that. The best thing to do is get the hell out of wherever you are. If you can get out of the Walmart, whatever store it's in, get the people you love, get out the door. Don't be a hero. If you can help someone, great. Old person falls down, lady's struggling to get her kid out of a seat, and you help the lady. That's fine. Do that. Get the hell out. If you can't, then hide or take cover and fight only if you have, like, the shooter just happens to show up and you have that unique opportunity to engage him quickly. um, you actually do the responders a favor not being there. Like, if you vacate, you just get the hell out, it's less people for them to worry about, so when they go in, they have less movement in their eyes trying to figure out where the bad guy is. You also need to consider things, and a lot of other channels have talked about this, things in your vehicle or in your EDC, such as, normal pocket knife flashlights. The bad guys, when they set off the bomb, they very easily could have knocked the lights out in Russia. So again, something, if you're in the dark in a strange place, how are you going to get out? Imagine being in a rock concert and the lights go out and then they're shooting, right? People are going to die just from getting stampeded. They're going to get trampled. So having that light source gives you an option to navigate in dark or low light conditions. in your vehicle or in your carry, especially if you have a purse or a day backpack. Like I usually have the backpack. I don't have a purse because I'd look silly. Um, or my wife's purse, keep a tourniquet and Israeli bandage in there, maybe a small first aid kit with some large gauzes in case you have to basically stuff a bullet wound. Okay, if you get shot or stabbed in an active shooter situation, it's not a question about healing the person, right? We're not surgeons. I mean, you may be, but I'm not. My goal, if one of the people in my circle gets hurt by a shot, is to buy as much time as I can to get that person to an actual response, to a place where they can get proper treatment. So again, being able to stuff the wound, the Israeli bandage, the tourniquet, these are all tools. They got some great armored backpacks on the market. They run anywhere between 100 and 200 bucks. The soft armor that's built into the backpack will stop pretty much everything up to a 45, 44 mag. Rifle rounds will go through it. But to be honest, other than those really well popularized mass shootings. Most of the shootings, Columbine, the trans kid that shot up the other school, a lot of these shootings are done with handguns that have been illegally modified, either with ridiculous mags or a sear or something. Um, these folks, uh, that kind of backpack will at least protect the core of your body from pistol impacts, which the handguns and shotgun pellets will typically account for a large majority of such incidents. But these are things you need to be aware of. Now, my personal opinion, I don't know where this is going to go in Russia. By the time this video airs, we may see Russia has already blamed Ukraine, blamed the US, blamed NATO, blamed the Taliban, whoever the bad guy is. Um, Ukraine may say that Russia did it to themselves to justify an escalation. We don't know. We're going to find out. We might find out before you guys see this video. But it's important for us to understand the boots on the ground issues that exist if you get caught in a mass shooting uh, or any kind of terror attack. Having those EDC items, even if you make it back to your truck, they may block all the roads. You may not be able to drive away in your vehicle. So, hence, you're going to have to deploy your get home bag. You're going to have to take whatever you think you need from the truck or SUV or your car and put it into your bag. I tend to underpack my get home bag a little bit. I leave extra room because I know there are things in my truck that I'm probably going to stuff in there. I'll probably wind up taking 3 to 5 minutes to pull the bag, look at, double check what I have in there, add what I think I need, and then if I don't have my carry pistol, I have one locked in the lockbox of the truck. I'll deploy that, put that on, and off I go. And I'm going to try and get the hell out of Dodge regardless and come back for the truck later, lock it up and leave. And, I'll come back and figure it out another time. So, understanding and having a little bit of a plan as to what I would do or what you would do if you were faced with this situation will at least give you a course of action. Because what happens to a lot of folks in any bad situation, something occurs, it becomes a shock, and they don't react. They either panic and hyperventilate or they freeze. Or even worse, they run like lemmings and they don't know where they're going. They're just following the other people. If something pops off, take cover and assess. Try to figure out where the shot's coming from. You don't want to say, I'm going to run to the nearest exit and that's where the bad guy came in because now you're screwed. You just ran to the bad guy. Take a moment to assess what's going on and take stock of the people in your circle. If you're by yourself, worry about you. If you can help someone on the way out the door, that's great. But don't be a hero. Don't get yourself killed trying to save a third party. Get the hell out of Dodge and try to guide other people to do what you're doing if you found an exit. In any case, interesting development that just happened in Russia. And again, by the time you guys see this, this may well have already developed into something completely different and it may become an escalation. Hopefully, I'm wrong. So, this is almost a time capsule recording. But in any case, guys, God bless, Godspeed. Be careful out there and pay attention to how these things happen and the reaction of the people. And then ask yourself, what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong? And if I was there, what should I have done? And that's how you learn uh, the situational awareness and the situational reactiveness that you need to survive such a situation. So until next time, God bless, Godspeed, be safe, and I'll see you all on the next video. You guys take care of yourselves.